Hi, and welcome to the Redikall web series. So, today we're going to talk about how we experience tightrope walk in certain aspects of our life and then how to address it. So, what is tightrope walk? Very simply, it's actually being neck to neck with respect to your resources, and it could be anything. It could be money, it could be time, it could be love, it could be your relationships at every moment of your life. And some of you are so used to or addicted to the high that you experience in the tightrope walk of managing your resources in a very stressful manner, that you don't even give yourself time or room or space to even go easy even for a single moment. So let me again explain this in a very simple manner. So you have seen, hi everyone. So you have seen in the circus or in a street show, people tie this, rope from one point to the other point at a height. And then there is this person who's going to cross over from one point to the other point, and there's this crowd watching below whether he will be able to cross over, or if there is a slight mistake, there's a off balance and the person falls off. So there is thrill, there is excitement, there is stress, there is everything. So it is not only that in the circus or in the street shows that you see people doing this tightrope walk. In our life and in our daily moment, a lot of us do tightrope walk with money, time, love, many other resources. So how do you know whether, first of all, you're doing tightrope walk? We don't even know that, and we just go along in our life thinking that, it's just, life is supposed to be so challenging all the time. So how do you know? Now you keep that example of that metaphor I gave you, and then I'm going to tell you a few points and you will resonate whether you are also doing tightrope walk. So in tightrope walk, every moment, okay, you take one step, and at every moment you just have that enough available resource to be able to cope up with the need of that moment. And you do not know whether you should take the next move because you do not have sufficient reserve of resources to meet your challenges. And you're very cautious, you take one step at a time, knowing that this is the moment when you're up and about, and there's no guarantee whether you'll sail through the future. And sometimes you're so preoccupied with managing the resources and coping up with those resources and challenges at that moment that you have no time to think of your past, you have no time to think of the future. Your current situation just kind of grips you. And then you also are forced in a way to live in the now and to be focused in the now, because it's like how that person was walking that tightrope walk at that great height and being carefully, very carefully taking one step at a time so that he doesn't fall. Similarly, we are so focused in the now in a very, not a very positive way, because you're so stressed out. You're so fearful of making a slight mistake. You're all the time alert, trying to manage and cope up with your current challenge, with your limited resources. Very common tightrope walking is tightrope walking with time. It's like you just have that enough, or that just enough time to cope up with your commitment. So I think I personally went through tightrope walking at my workplace for almost 10 years without even knowing that I was doing a tightrope walk. So as an architect, we always give a date for our deadline of submitting our designs to the client. And ideally, you should be submitting it to us before the office closes on the date you have committed. But me and my team would always only manage to give the submission right at midnight, just before the calendar would change the date. There was always tightrope walking with time throughout at workplace, and it was very stressful. some of us go through tightrope walking with neck to neck money to just be able to meet your expenses at that very moment, and then we do not know whether the money is going to come the next moment or not, and how much are we going to get it. I'm sure you resonate with that. So first let us understand, why do we tightrope walk? I mean, logically, why would you tightrope walk? But somewhere we are doing that tightrope walk. So the reasons are that some of us have been observing our parents or influential people in our early growing up years, and sometimes teachers and parents even teach us to do tightrope walk because they feel that that is the best way to bring out your potential and live and do your best in life. But then as we grow and we become adults, you realize that you don't really need it. But then it becomes like a habit. Some of us have a deep association with growth. So each time there is a stressful, challenging aspect, we do this tightrope walk and we keep growing. So we form a deep association with professional and personal growth with tightrope walking. And we continue to then attract and manifest challenges. Another interesting reason is that most of us would not even have consciously realized that you get a huge ego kick of managing with these precarious and unpredictable flow of resources. And you get this ego kick of being able to cope up and go through the challenge. And you feel that, you know, you're really good enough, and you feel that you've been able to cope up with such challenges with such great efficiency. So it's like somewhere to prove to yourself how efficient you are. And this sometimes you don't even realize consciously, and it just becomes a way of your life. And the fourth reason is that is the way to remain focused in the now. Because then you've taken all your energy to be focused to cope up with that challenge of the the lack of reserves of resources, that you cannot think of anything, no past, no future. But this is not a great way of being in the now. So you need to ask yourself somewhere that, okay, we understand that tough situations and difficult situations bring out the best in you, but it eventually will burn you out. And how long can you live like that? It's going to affect your financial well-being, it's going to help affect your mental well-being and your overall well-being. So you need to think that, do you deserve that kind of life? Do you deserve to live this absolutely stressed out life where you're all the time scared of making mistakes? Like, I have this acquaintance I know, she does such tightrope walk with her relationship that she's always surrounded by people who are extremely volatile and temperamental by nature. She just can't predict them. So it is like she's so scared to say something, or she's so scared of conducting herself in a particular way because she doesn't know what if something she does can trigger off that relationship, and she doesn't even know whether that relationship will actually last also. Imagine the tightrope walk when you do in a relationship like that, when you don't even know whether with anything you say or do, that relationship could just snap out. And a lot of people actually have such relationships. So though these volatile and temperamental people can teach you to become very, very aware of your conduct and teach you people management skills, and then sometimes you even give a pat on your back that you've been able to, go through a challenge given by your spouse or your friend or something like that, but then finally it's extremely stressful. There is no emotional buffering, there is no cushioning. You're always surrounded by volatile people, and sometimes the situation becomes so familiar that you can't even believe that there can be relationships which can be warm, comforting, predictable, where it's okay if you do a mistake or so. The relationships don't get that kind of, they don't get affected that way. And it's possible to now stop doing tightrope walk with the relationship just by understanding first what is the learning. and then choosing to somewhere rise beyond the need to grow through these challenges, and intent and invite warm, predictable, comforting, emotionally comforting relationships. Now, the most common tightrope walking that we all do, neck to neck. Don't even know when it's going to come, and I'm talking about money. Now, money is a neutral entity, but money becomes the culprit, it becomes the reason, it becomes a victim of our need to tightrope walk. Sometimes we get such an ego kick, again, at the subconscious level sometimes, that you're not even consciously aware, that you get such a ego kick of being able to manage with absolutely lean finances, that you stop giving yourself permission to have enough reserve of financial resources, so that once in a while you can luxuriously spend on yourself and not keep thinking that will I have money coming next month, will I, a lot of people in business go through that will I get money enough next month to be able to pay my team, my people, my place which I've hired. Now, a lot of you would think, okay, so money is not coming, so obviously I am in a tight situation and I am going to do tightrope walking. But it is not because there is a limitation in the flow of the finance or the money. It is because somewhere we have a need to tightrope walk, and so the resource of money gets limited. It doesn't flow easily into our life. It's a different realization. Also, some of us develop a different association. So we go through a lean finance, and then we work very hard, and a lot of us then somewhere start earning more. So we have a very deep association again with increased earning with lean finances. Now, because of this association again, what we do is at the subconscious level, each time we want to earn more, we will invite a manifest a difficult situation. And then each time we manifest a difficult situation, what will we do? We will obviously try and earn more. So this is like a loop. And money has nothing to do with tightrope walk. So people who have a lot of money, interestingly, can also do tightrope walk, because it is an association and a need. For example, I know a lot of people who have now understood that they're going to get an appraisal and their earning is going to increase. But even before the money comes into their bank, they have already decided to take a loan. They have already decided to increase their expenses. They have already decided to, so their whole EMI, loan, donation, and a lot of things have already got planned before the money has entered the bank. So people who have less money doesn't mean they are the ones who do tightrope walk. People with enough money also can do tightrope walk, because that's how then they start planning their resource. So you need to again ask yourself that if you're doing that, and you can look back and see how you've been living your life with money, and if you've been doing that, you need to choose to lead a life which is comfortable. You don't need to waste all your energy and potential in trying to resolve and address this challenge of having no money. You rather spend your energy and potential on something more worthwhile. That's fair. So just choose somewhere to rise beyond this growing with these challenges or trying to get this ego kick or high in your life. And instead invite a comfortable life with enough buffers and enough money reserves. And it's possible, and we can do with radical techniques. We can transcend the need to tightrope walk. So if you look at it, it's basically most of the largest factor is that there is this sheer thrill of juggling with precarious and these resources which are unpredictable, and without the security of padding and buffer, you actually get such a thrill and you get so addicted to tightrope walking that you do not even want to choose an easy life or an easy path. So you rather choose this tenuous path instead of that easy highway where life is comfortable cruise, it's easy. And it's possible for each one of us to now opt out of that strenuous tightrope walking path and choose an easy path. And the first thing will begin with choosing to lead an easy life and not with challenges. And if you want to work deeper with these, is you can do the very important thing is you can work and understand what is the brilliance in this tightrope walk. What is the learning or the gift for you? And through Redikall, we find out very easily what is the brilliance in your tightrope walk. So you can find that out. You can ask a Redikall student to help you. So once you understand the brilliance in the tightrope walk, then it's like you can let this ugly wrapper fly away and you just keep the gift. And once you have understood the gift or the learning, and then you can transcend and rise above this. And you can choose to have an easy life. And you can also further work with your guilt of either judging somebody who did a tightrope walk, or there is a guilt of making people go through tightrope walk. As a lot of us do that to our teens and to a lot of people, we kind of make them also do tightrope walk along with what we are doing to ourselves. And it's okay to now forgive yourself for the past errors and to move on and learn to be easy, learn to be kind to yourself, learn to just have faith that you can cope up when it is required. You don't need to keep proving to yourself how good or efficient you are by trying to cope up with challenges every moment of your life. So with this, we can start doing some Redikall affirmation and statements which can then help us to actually address this. So do join me right now with reciting these statements, and thank you so much for the hearts and the likes and all the comments, guys. Thanks so much. Okay, so let us sit in a peaceful place and just close your eyes. And bring your awareness to your body. Just relax. And repeat with me. I R5, my tendency to have a tightrope walk. I R5, my tendency to have a tightrope walk. I R5, my tendency to have a tightrope walk. I R5, my need to constantly tightrope walk. I R5, my need to constantly tightrope walk. I R5, my need to constantly tightrope walk. I R5, my need for a huge ego kick. I R5, my need for a huge ego kick. I R5, my need for a huge ego kick. R5, my fear of suffering due to the slightest mistake. R5, my fear of suffering due to the slightest mistake. R5, my fear of suffering due to the slightest mistake. R5, my guilt of making others go through tightrope walk. R5, my guilt of making others go through tightrope walk. R5, my guilt of making others go through tightrope walk. R5, my association of growth with tightrope walk. R5, my association of growth with tightrope walk. R5, my association of growth with tightrope walk. R5, my need for buffers and reserves of resources. R5, my need for buffers and reserves of resources. R5, my need for buffers and reserves for resources. R5, my need to have comfort cruise. R5, my need to have comfort cruise. R5, my need to have a comfort cruise. R5, my need to take life easy. R5, my need to take life easy. R5, my need to take life easy. And the affirmation for today is, I intend and invite enough buffers and reserves of resources to enjoy a relaxed life. I intend and invite enough buffers and reserves of resources to enjoy a relaxed life. I intend and invite enough buffers and reserves of resources to enjoy a relaxed life. So you can open your eyes now. And let us finally stop living our life and every moment neck to neck with all our resources, with respect to all of them, and choose to live a comfortable, cushioned and peaceful life.